what is the reliance on foreign help? Why is that so important to us? What is with this way of us thinking, this uncritical way, this kind of very superficial way of us understanding the problems facing our country, right? That's the first thing. The second thing is, what is our reliance on foreign influence? Why is that so important to us? Why do we believe that the only way that we can move forward is if we get somebody from the outside to come in and tell us what we need to do with ourselves? Right? That's the second thing. And the third thing is, we know that there are people here with ideas, with remarkable imagination, with fantastic intellect. And it seems that we don't put any value into them. They find no place here at home. Right? And Frantz Fanon says, colonialism is this nasty, insidious thing, and there's something inherent at the middle of it. At the very core of colonialism, he suggests, there's a dichotomy that must exist. And he names this thing a Manichaean dichotomy. Manichaean literally talking about a religious perspective where the universe is split very cleanly into light and dark, right? Two sides existing, dependent on one another. And in Frantz Fanon's mind, the Manichaean separation is between the colonized and the colonizer. The colonized living in a state of abject poverty, surrounded by crime, crumbling infrastructure and all of these things, where just over the railroad tracks is where the colonizers live. And they have perfectly paved roads, and the houses look beautiful, and everybody's living peacefully, and they have organic food, and all of that kind of stuff, right? And Frantz Fanon says, colonialism depends on this thing. Colonialism depends on this thing for two reasons. One, from a psychological standpoint. Because by creating this rift, this division, by dehumanizing the colonized, it allows the colonizer to exact a certain kind of violence to maintain order. These people have to look poor, dejected, they have to be criminals, they have to be dirty, because we need to do certain things to them to maintain the order, right? And the other thing is economy, right? Colonialism necessarily needs this division because the first world and the third world, or the colonizer and the colonized, do not exist without each other. The colonizers' roads can't be paved, their homes can't be neatly groomed, they can't get organic food unless someone's doing the work. And the work is dirty, dirty work. They're not going to do it. And so again, this division is very, very important. So, we talked about colonialism and the development of the first world, right? The Industrial Revolution could not happen without slavery, because when you take people who you don't have to pay and make lots of money off of them, you have lots of capital that can fuel innovation, right? When you create this innovation, you also need to have a citizenry that can supply your factories, build your things. And what Sir Ken Robinson suggests is that in the Victorian age and right after, as the Industrial Revolution is booming, schools became more or less factories themselves for people who could work in the industries of their countries, right? They don't need you to think, we don't need you to be creative, we don't need you to imagine anything, we need you to sit on a line, put this thing together, be to work on time, leave on time, and know how to count your money. Those are the things, right? And Sir Ken Robinson suggests that this entire system of education is literally stripping our imagination from us. Yes. What makes it even sadder for those of us who live in the post-colony is that we don't have industry in the way, we have not had an industrial revolution in the way that our colonizers have. And we have, without any thought at all, adopted these educational systems, and they don't at all address the things that we need to survive. So here we are in an educational system that is stripping us of imagination in a place where that educational system makes no sense at all to begin with. And because we are pumping out these people without imagination, it becomes difficult for us to even imagine an alternative. We're stuck, right? In another way, tourism and direct investment, something that I was not sure I was going to cover in this talk, but I think I got time. Tourism and direct investment is another one of these legacies of colonialism. We've all heard the term plantation economy thrown around, right? Let's think about it this way though. 300 years ago, a wealthy person comes to a place, builds a factory, builds an entity, creates an organization where the people of that place go to work. And they leave that place producing these things, the money made from that thing is sent away, and they go home with only their wages. That could be a hotel. Or it could also be a plantation. Either way, you're kind of picking cotton here, right? And none of the things that matter, particularly if the people who live here don't own the means of production, they don't own the entity that's making the money, right? All of that leads to an issue of economic breakdown, okay? More importantly, when it comes to tourism, there's a very interesting kind of politics attached to tourism. When you have 5 to 6 million people trotting on your shores every year, and in fact your economy depends on those people being happy, then it begs the question, is my government doing things to ensure that these 5 to 6 million people who are coming here are happy, forgetting that I actually live here? That if economic policy is more directed to the people who visit here and less about the people who live here, what kind of problems does that cause for us?
Yeah.